Yeah. It's a pleasure to be here with so many passionate people. I've spent the last 20 years of my life researching and sharing information linked to the links between soil health, human health and planetary health, and I'll continue with that sharing here today. I was about 2 weeks, or 3 or 4 weeks ago actually, I was on the steps of City Hall in LA speaking to a large group of climate change activists, and following that talk I got flooded with people, many of them asking the same question. They were asking, what was that word? And I immediately assumed that they were referring to a word that I'd used called mycorrhizal, which is really something of a spelling bee special. But to my surprise, the word they were seeking was the word humus. And for someone who is so passionate about this subject, as you'll soon learn, it was something of a shock to realise that people have become so divorced from the source of their food that they weren't even familiar with the word. And this is people who are trying to save the planet. And so we'll begin by talking about what is humus. Interestingly, if we look at the etiology of this word, we find that the words humus and human mean the same thing. They mean of and for the earth. And interestingly, the word humility means exactly the same thing. And ironically, it's our lack of humility that has seen us in our constant quest to master nature that has really brought us pretty much to the brink. So humus it's made by microorganisms, and it's the home base in which those microorganisms, these incredibly important creatures, live. Humus is the soil glue that determines whether our rivers run brown following a rain event. Humus is the soil glue that determines whether dust storms strip our thin veil of precious topsoil, as we saw in Australia a few short years ago when the Opera House turned red. Humus is the storage system for 3 incredibly important substances: carbon, water, and minerals. And it will be this trio that will have most impact on soil, plant, animal, human, and planetary health in the very near future. Humus is our greatest water management tool. We're talking about 3/4 of the earth covered in water, and 3% of that water is fresh. And of that 3%, 90% is used for irrigation, but it's not used very smartly. We store our water in huge dams. I'll go back here, I'm just going to get this. In huge dams with massive amounts of evaporation. We pump that water with a large carbon footprint to the farm, and we pump it out and lose more through evaporation during the irrigation process. Compare that to humus. Humus holds its own weight in water. Humus is beneath the ground, so it can't evaporate. The plant root takes it as it needs it. A 1% increase in organic matter per hectare results in 170,000 litres of water that can be stored in that soil that couldn't previously. This mat, which is 2 square metres, 34 litres, we can now store because you decided to compost your green waste and your food scraps. There's no better way to manage water than that. Humus also has a massive impact upon the nutritional value of our food. There are numerous studies now that have quantified the lots of minerals in our food. There's an argument that the food we're consuming currently contains just 20% of the nutrition found in the food consumed by our grandparents. And a large part of that is the soil. We are what we eat. What we eat comes from the soils, and the soils are a shadow of their former self. A big part of that decimation of our soil is the loss of humus. Humus is the only thing that holds all minerals. It stores all minerals in the soil, and humus is the home base for the organisms that deliver the minerals. There is a microbe behind every mineral. Humus or microbes are the bridge between the soil and the plant, literally. We build the humus, we build the nutrient density, we build the health of every one of us. Humus also reduces chemical contamination of our soils. We're seeing constantly that the higher the humus levels, the less the need for chemical intervention. We're talking about various issues in relation to the chemical contaminants on our food. Bioaccumulation, we're talking about the thing called the cocktail effect. The bottom line is our need for chemicals is based upon, a fungal disease is not a deficiency of a fungicide. We're looking at a plant that didn't have the mineral base and didn't have the microbe base to otherwise protect itself. We build the humus, we change that. Humus is also the storage system for nitrate and nitrogen. Our waters, our drinking water even, is contaminated with that carcinogen. Humus is the only thing in the soil that can store it. It's also a carbon filter, which isolates heavy metals and chemical residues and keeps them from us. It plays a huge role in soil structure. Here we see some vermicompost added here to the soil. You couldn't push a penetrometer more than this far into the soil. 6 weeks later, you can push it to its hilt. The soil can now breathe. The soil can produce nutrient-dense food with forgotten flavours and a lot more medicinal qualities. So, in conclusion, humus is literally the lifeblood of this planet, and we've used and abused this magical substance to the point that our very future is at stake. When we build humus in the soil, we reclaim carbon from the atmosphere. We increase the health of soil life, of plants and animals. We improve the management of precious water. We increase the vitality and resilience of every last one of us. We need to return to that ancient wisdom that saw the definition of humus and human as being of and for the earth. And we need to reclaim the humility to work with nature rather than this constant battle and this constant striving to master her. All of us can be involved. Lobby your super funds. Push your councils for change. Compost, compost, compost. Buy your food from those that are doing the right thing. And each and every one of us can help save the day with humus. Thank you.